Hi, this is Erin from Flossy Bee. Welcome to my channel. The plan for this video is fairly simple. I'm going to create some beautiful froggy coasters by using paper in resin. Look at these absolutely gorgeous frog images that I found on Creative Fabrica. I downloaded them, sized them to the coasters, and then printed them out on my Canon Pixma desktop printer just using regular printing paper. Now I'm going to be using River Art Resin Deep Pour 2:1 epoxy, and I'm going to mix up 80 grams of part A and 40 grams of part B, so just 120 grams in total to get a base on my coaster mould. And this is Julie Cuts from Pouring Your Heart Out 10 centimetre coaster mould. It's a beautiful mould to work with. So I did fast forward through the mixing there on my Istoyo resin mixer, and I'm using these two beautiful mica powders. These are Pearl X powders. The blue is called Sapphire Blue and the green is called Apple Green. And I'm hoping that when I blend these two together, I get a really pretty blue-green that will match the colouring of the images that I've chosen. So before I get my powders out, I'm going to cover up my mould just to reduce the chance of getting any debris in there. And then adding a little bit of each of the pigments just to start mixing and see how I'm going with that colouring I'm looking for. Now the Pearl X powders have a very high shimmering luster and super pretty. When you're making coasters this way, the base, there's a chance that it's never going to really be seen, because if you're going to put, say, a piece of cork on the base, and if you're going to decorate the edges or colour them with a chrome marker or something, you won't really see it at all. But I still wanted to make them pretty and to match with the images that I've chosen. I'm really happy that I picked just about the perfect amount to start filling these coasters. I had just enough left over to do the little heart in the middle, so pretty good. And I'm going to leave these to cure for around about the 24 hours. And while they are curing though, I can start preparing the paper images for using in the next step. So here they are. I'm going to be using this circle cutter, and I'm going to be cutting a circle that is around about 2 millimeters less in diameter than I would if I was going to be using the glue method. Now the glue method is where you cut your paper out and then you seal it using a Mod Podge or a PVA glue or something like that, and then you put that into the resin. This time I'm cutting them out a little bit smaller because I'm going to laminate these sheets in clear laminate pouches, and then I'm going to cut them out again using a slightly larger diameter so that they have that absolute sealed edge all around, so that there's no risk of resin seeping in to the paper and damaging the ink. Also, when paper gets wet, it does discolour and sometimes change shape a little bit too. So this way it's completely sealed and the resin will just sit over the top without interfering with the ink or the paper quality, which is brilliant. I did forget to mention, this is the little Fiskars circle cutter that I'm using, and mostly I've been really happy with it. Every now and then the blade might not be sharp enough or it doesn't cut completely a circle, But overall, I have been very happy with the purchase, and I just bought it from Spotlight in Australia, I think. Now I'm going to use this DuraClear matte varnish as an adhesive to put the circles onto the cured resin pieces, just so I can be really confident that when I pour the top coat, that nothing is going to go in underneath, or that it's going to cause the paper to sit and bubble up. If I just sat them on top, I am a little bit worried that they might rise up or get bubbles trapped and things like that. So just with my fingers, I'm giving the back of these a very thin coat with the DuraClear varnish and going all the way to the edges. Then I'm laying them in on top of each of the cured coaster pieces, making sure, of course, that I don't dislodge the edge of the coasters away from the mould. If you do that, when you pour your next coat of resin on, it could trickle down the sides. I did have that first one out of camera shot, so you'll see here just rubbing in that glue. Now you don't have to use DuraClear varnish, you could just use Mod Podge or really any PVA glue. And then after I've stuck them all down and I've given them a little wipe with a paper towel to make sure there's nothing coming out of the sides there, I do sit this aside to cure or to harden or whatever glue does, varnish does, for a few hours, because I want to make sure that when I pour my resin, everything's completely dry. So next step is to mix up a batch of resin. So this time I'm using the River Art Resin Fast Cure 2:1 epoxy resin, and I've just given that a 5-minute stir in the Istoyo resin mixer, and it's beautifully bubble free. And now I'm just pouring a little bit onto each of the coasters. I just want to make sure that the resin has an opportunity to self-level, which means it will make its way out over the coasters. I'm currently working on a leveling table, and I'm fairly confident that this is all very even surface, and so I know that if I leave the resin for a minute, it will just flow out. And I also need it to flow just a little bit down over the edges of the laminated pieces, because it needs to actually seal them in. So I actually really enjoy watching the resin move out and down and all of those things. It's quite therapeutic. And once I'm happy that it's sort of reached the furthest it can go, I can then top it up a little bit until I get it to the perfect level. So I ended up just very slightly doming these, knowing that resin will often shrink a little, and I didn't want to have any sharp edges when I demold. And I just wanted to make sure that the coasters have a beautiful glossy domed appearance to them, which will help magnify those gorgeous images underneath and end up with a really lovely looking product. So I'll cover these now with a insect-proof cover and set them aside to cure for a couple of hours. And now, time for demolding. It's a bit funny when you're demolding something you can actually see, but I still want to make sure that the edges look nice when they come out. And this mould is so beautiful to demold. You just have to gently ease that beautiful thick squishy sort of silicone, and they pop out on their own. So here we go with number 1 and checking the edge, and it looks perfect. I don't think I'm going to cover up the edges at all. They look amazing. So first Froggy, very handsome, very glossy, and I'm really happy with him. Now this one is this beautiful rich blue colours as well in there. And look how glossy and vibrant that one is. Really happy with that. Next one out is beautiful with those gorgeous flowers. I love that yellow flower. And again, the edges are looking great. All very neat and uniform and all the good things. And then our lucky last with the beautiful little purple flowers there. So could not be happier with these. They've turned out absolutely perfectly. I love this mould. I love this technique, and I love the images that I was able to choose and download and print from Creative Fabrica. And so these are the 4 pieces that we've ended up with. They don't have to be a set of coasters. They could end up being 4 individual little ornaments for froggy lovers. Stay watching to the end of the video and I'll show you how I've displayed these. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you spending this crafting time with me, and I hope that you enjoyed seeing the technique of using paper in resin after it's been laminated, and I'll put links in the description box as far as I can for items used. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.